Hello, everyone, and welcome. You are watching the EBC international coverage of the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. I am Philip Toledo, coming to you from Atlanta, Georgia. Whether this is your first time or if you've joined us every evening, we want to thank you for joining us tonight. As always, we have live updates from several of our correspondents across the United States and Canada. They're standing by now to give us the headlines. Thomas Likeness in Edmonton, Alberta.
Clinical trials for a coronavirus vaccine may soon begin in Canada.
I'm Ellen Ramos in Washington, D.C.
Consequences to reopening, and Democrats propose a virtual convention.
In Alexandria, Virginia, E.J. Gonzalez.
The Church of Christ in the DMV region gives out contact-free groceries to neighbors amid pandemic restrictions.
From Corpus Christi, Texas, we have Jane Kathleen Gregorio.
City of Corpus Christi provides lists of fun, social distancing activities to do around town.
Myla Cimbalon in Swarthmore, Pennsylvania.
Governor of Pennsylvania has a message to those politicians defying the law regarding coronavirus.
In Rochester, New York, Abigail Dumlau.
Governor Cuomo directs hospitals to prioritize COVID-19 testing for children.
And in North Hollywood, California, Marianne Borja.
Los Angeles County Museum of Art, or LACMA, opens its virtual doors with LACMA at Home.
Plus, after that, we'll meet the hosts of Vegas Variety, one of the newest and most exciting online shows produced by Eagle Broadcasting Corporation. But first, let's take a look at how the world looks now. According to the Coronavirus Resource Center of Johns Hopkins University in Medicine, as of 6 p.m. Eastern Time today, Tuesday, May 12, 2020, the number of cases of COVID-19 reported worldwide is now more than 4,200,000. This includes more than 1,300,000 in the United States and more than 72,000 in Canada. Sadly, this virus has claimed more than 290,000 lives worldwide. This includes more than 81,000 deaths in the United States and more than 5,000 in Canada. Our coverage begins now. We turn our attention to the state of California, where a senior police official said Monday a group of prisoners tried to infect themselves with coronavirus in a futile bid to win freedom. And inmates at a facility in Castaic, north of Los Angeles, were filmed sharing a disposable cup and sniffing a used face mask while crowded together. County Sheriff Alex Villanueva said, and I quote, "Somehow, there was some mistaken belief among the inmate population that if they tested positive, that there was a way to force our hand and somehow release more inmates from our jail environment. And that is not going to happen." He added some 21 prisoners tested positive in the prison section where the video was shot as a result of the behavior. Now, this activity came to light as prison officials investigated a broader spike in COVID-19 cases behind bars, with nearly 40% of those incarcerated in LA County already in quarantine. Los Angeles County currently has 11,700 inmates after more than 5,000 prisoners were released in a preemptive measure to avoid a catastrophic coronavirus outbreak. Still, 357 prisoners have tested positive in the county, which has the United States' largest prison population. John Satterfield, a lieutenant in the sheriff's department, said the footage was, quote, "just a sampling of the many other videos being reviewed and used in the ongoing investigation." Another video showed prisoners sipping hot water in a bid to raise their temperatures before the nurses conducted a medical check. Villanueva said the men were trying to falsely elevate their temperature readings to emulate one of the disease's symptoms. Now, none of the prisoners has admitted to seeking to infect themselves. Prisoner reform advocates denied the claim and accused Villanueva of seeking to, quote, demonize incarcerated people. Campaigner Patrice Cullors, in a statement calling for the release of more inmates, said the sheriff's shameful claims, quote, sensationalized the acute fear of the incarcerated population. It was not clear how the outbreak at this North County Correctional Facility in Castaic began. Now, we have more news ahead of us, so when we come back, we'll have more of these COVID-19 updates. Make sure you stay with us. This is Eagle News.
This program is presented by SMC Infrastructure, building a better world. Sanmig Sugar-Free White Coffee, puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na, Sanmig Sugar-Free White Coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free. Vet-approved Nutri-Chunks, the only premium dog food with active boost for optimum energy and prebiotics that help strengthen immunity. Just like Catherine Bernardo, gawing listo ganado ang fur babies nyo. Listo ganado sa Nutri-Chunks. Co-presented by Kubert, expert in air conditioning and electromechanical. Also engaged in structural, electrical, fire protection, plumbing, and sanitary services. Kubert, your ultimate MEPS and air conditioning solutions. Vita Herbs Philippines Green Coffee. Masarap, mabango, at healthy pa. Canrib Corporation, your ventilation and air conditioning specialist. New San Jose Builders Incorporated. Unlad Incorporated International, fight against global poverty. In participation with Rain or Shine Elastomeric Waterproofing Paint. Color for protection for your home. Matimco. Matimco is wood. Wood is Matimco. R Square Variables Incorporated, your trusted UPS supplier and UPS maintenance provider in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. CompuZell Computer Services, ID card and lanyard manufacturer. Saisho International Trading Corporation. DN Steel. EMAC UPVC Roof Corporation.
Hey, Gretchen Ho here, and I'm a white coffee lover. Creamy kasi, and very yummy. Pero mas masarap kung hindi nakaka-guilty. Check my new discovery, Sanmig Sugar-Free White Coffee. Puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na! Sanmig Sugar-Free White Coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free.
The successful development of TPLEX, or Tarlac Pangasinan La Union Expressway in 2009, a 4-lane toll road that extends from Tarlac City to Rosario La Union, with an additional approved extension of 56 kilometers all the way to San Juan La Union. This is expected to reduce travel time to Baguio and other provinces in northern Luzon. Realizing the vision of creating a better world for Filipinos fueled the team's focus.
Listo at ganado ang baby ko sa vet-approved Nutri-Chunks with active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto. Made with real meat, with essential nutrients to help them grow healthy and happy. Listo, ganado sa Nutri-Chunks.
Ikaw lang ang star ng buhay ko. Para sa akin, perfect ka. Ibang klase ang sarap ng corned beef mo. Ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Pag Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, sarap ng corned beef, inangat pa ng real cheese cubes. Kaya perfect ang sarap. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef.
Welcome back, everyone. You are watching Eagle News. I am Philip Toledo in Atlanta. We turn our attention now to Canada, where clinical trials for a coronavirus vaccine may begin soon. Thomas Likeness in Edmonton has the report.
Well, good evening, Philip. News out of Canada's National Research Council today gives us a bit of a glimmer of hope that a new vaccine to protect us from COVID-19 may be on the horizon. Now, the council says Canadian researchers are collaborating with Chinese researchers. They are the ones that are developing a vaccine that's already been tried by on humans in China. In that first phase, they wanted to see whether there were any major safety issues. So now that vaccine is entering the second phase, where they'll determine whether it's effective against COVID-19. CanSino Biologics of Montreal is applying to Health Canada to begin clinical trials here in this country. Development of this vaccine actually was based on work that was done in Canada a few years ago using a cell line that they used to produce an Ebola vaccine. Although this is good news, there's no indication it'll work against coronavirus. This is all in the very, very early stages. But if it does, this collaboration could help ensure that Canadians will have good access to a vaccine if it does become effective. One other piece of information I'll pass along to you. The Alberta government will announce tomorrow if it's going to proceed with its reopening plan as scheduled on Thursday. Dr. Dina Hinshaw, she's our Chief Medical Officer of Health, is advising the government as we speak.
The Emergency Management Cabinet Committee will be meeting today and will be making a final decision about proceeding forward. And while I recognize there is that challenge that people ideally would have a lot of lead time, it's also important to make sure that we have the most up-to-date information about our data, about how our trends are going, so that we can take that into account as we make those decisions. So I would ask that businesses and patrons of businesses be patient, because we do need to make sure that we have that most up-to-date information to discuss as the consideration is made of the relaunch date. And as soon as that decision is made, you know, that announcement will happen tomorrow to make sure that people are aware of what the outcome was of that decision.
Now, it's unclear just how many people will reopen their businesses. The government just produced the guidelines for reopening yesterday for various sectors, whether they be daycares or hairstylists or so on. Each one of them has sort of a set of guidelines to follow. But if the government does give the green light on Thursday, non-essential retailers can reopen along with a number of other businesses, such as daycares, hairstylists, museums and art galleries. Restaurants as well, although restaurants will be limited to 50% capacity. We move cautiously in this part of the world because, again, we don't want to jeopardize the progress that has been made limiting the spread of COVID-19. For all of you, I wish you all good health. Take care of others, take care of yourselves. Stay home, stay safe, and stay tuned to Eagle News for accurate and balanced coverage of the COVID-19 pandemic. In Edmonton, Canada, Thomas I. Likeness, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thank you so much, Thomas. You know, I want to go back to the earlier part of your report when you were talking about these vaccine trials. And I know in my own social media feed, vaccines are a hot topic. What's your observations on the individuals in your community there? Are they excited about a vaccine? Do they want to take it? Well, what's their reaction?
Oh, very definitely. I would say the majority, 3/4 or more, would even support mandatory vaccination. I just want to point out there's only 5 such vaccines right now that have been approved for safety testing in humans. And this one that I was referring to is the furthest advanced. It's actually moved beyond safety testing to make sure that you're not going to kill anybody with the compounds you're using, where now they can see whether it's effective against the virus itself. But yes, certainly people are supportive here.
Well, that's good to hear. And as you look forward to reopening, I just wanted to ask you a personal question. What's the first place you and your family will go once you do decide to venture out to these businesses that will hopefully reopen?
Personally, I'd love to go back to a library, but that's really a good question. I'm not sure. We've become so homebound now. Our whole life has changed. And I was just going through the bank account the other day, and my expenses compared to what they were a couple of months ago, I think I kind of like this life. I'll become a hermit.
I don't know if I'm going to join you on that exact journey, but I can appreciate the unexpected benefits of this.
Well, I will tell you, though, once large gatherings open up, worship service is the first place, because I really do miss that. I really do.
Absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Thomas, for your report. You stay safe. Now, as many states here in the U.S. are beginning to reopen, many are wondering, what are the consequences when you reopen the state? Also in the news, Democrats propose a virtual convention. Emeline Ramos in Washington, D.C. has the details. We have some technical difficulties here. Emeline?
Thank you, Philip.
Go ahead.
As plans are reopening continue to heat up, Washington's top virus expert, Dr. Anthony Fauci, spoke to the U.S. Senate Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee via video conference in a highly anticipated hearing. The title of the hearing, as listed on the Senate homepage, is COVID-19, Safely Getting Back to Work and Back to School. Fauci testified to his committee and said, my concern, quote, my concern that if some areas, cities, states, or what have you, jump over those various checkpoints and prematurely open up without having the capability of being able to respond effectively and efficiently, my concern is we will start to see little spikes that might turn into outbreaks. In addition to Fauci, Robert Redfield, the director for the United States Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Brett Giroir, the Assistant and Secretary for the United States Department of Health and Human Service, and Stephen Hahn, Commissioner of the U.S. Food and Drug Administration, also testified. The hearing appeared to show a sharp divide between Republicans and Democrats, often highlighting the way the Trump administration has handled the pandemic. Asked about U.S. communities or states not following official guidelines on reopening, Dr. Fauci has this statement. Take a look.
There is no doubt, even under the best of circumstances, when you pull back on mitigation, you will see some cases appear. It's the ability and the capability of responding to those cases with good identification, isolation, and contact tracing will determine whether you can continue to go forward as you try to reopen America.
Each state and local government have important, difficult decisions to make at present. We hope that they listen to the advice of not only Dr. Fauci, but all available information and advice from other experts in making these hard choices. Otherwise, if reopening is premature or not done properly, Dr. Fauci testified, quote, we would almost turn the clock back rather than going forward. Now, let's talk about U.S. national politics. In a few months, Americans will elect their next president. On the Democratic side, Vice President Joe Biden is the presumptive nominee for the Democratic Party, but he has yet to be formally nominated by delegates. Due to COVID-19, we are now faced with the question of how to proceed with our elections. Should we do it as we usually do it, but with social distancing? Should it be mail-in ballots, or are there any other alternatives? Democratic Party is considering adopting rules that would allow delegates to vote remotely to nominate the presumptive nominee Joe Biden as their official candidate for president. This would in effect be a virtual convention. Biden's last remaining party rival has already conceded and has endorsed Biden for president. A party official told AFP, quote, "During this critical time, when the scope and scale of the pandemic and its impact in August remain unknown, convention planners are exploring a range of contingency options to ensure all delegates will be able to cast ballots and accomplish their business, regardless of their ability to travel and to participate in person." If you've ever witnessed or attended a Republican or Democratic convention, it really is a spectacle with bright lights, balloons, celebrities, and of course, the nominees for president. This may not be possible due to COVID-19, but we hope that the democratic process of electing our officials continues and can be done in a safe manner. In Washington, D.C., I'm Malin Bondoc Ramos, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Philip.
Thank you, Emeline. Now, you were referring to the Democratic National Convention, but what about the Republicans? Do they have any plans?
Yes, Philip. For now, the Republican convention will proceed as usual. According to CNN, the Republican National Committee are moving full steam ahead in preparation for the 2020 convention in Charlotte. They will assess in late June or July if they can proceed with the convention or if they have to make alternative plans. Well, interesting times indeed, Philip.
Very interesting. We'll stay tuned to hear what their decision ends up being. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Now, in other news in the same region, the Church of Christ is giving out contact-free groceries to neighbors amid pandemic restrictions. EJ Gonzalez in Alexandria has the story.
Despite the growing fear looming around the DMV region brought about by getting infected with the coronavirus, the Church of Christ, or Iglesia ni Cristo here, came out and knocked on their neighbors' doors to continue the true essence of aid to humanity. Aid to Humanity is an assistance program by the Iglesia ni Cristo, or Church of Christ, offering help to those who are deemed in need. Goodie bags were distributed to hand-picked communities around the DMV area. Beneficiaries of the bags were contacted ahead of time to inform them that the bags would be left on their porches after ringing the doorbell. Because of the current pandemic, this distribution had to be done this way to abide by the respective states' regulations. Preparation consisted of sanitizing the items that were placed in the bags and disinfecting them as well. The content of the bags included sacks of rice, canned goods, toiletries, and other essential items. According to Brother Archie Talons, a minister of the church here at the DMV, this gesture of goodwill coincides with the church's commemoration of a special event in its history. Take a look.
The Iglesia ni Cristo, or Church of Christ, through the leadership of our executive minister, Brother Eduardo V. Manalo, holds Aid to Humanity or Lingap sa Mamamayan activities. And this is in fulfillment of the commandment of our Almighty God, and that is to help our fellow men who are in need. But this month, the month of May, in remembrance of the 134th birth anniversary of Brother Felix Y. Manalo, the one whom we firmly believe as the messenger of God in these last days, the brethren here in the local congregations around Washington, D.C., in cooperation with the Felix Y. Manalo Medical Foundation, united to prepare hundreds of care packages containing primarily food items and other household needs. The brethren who prepared the care packages wore protective equipment, sanitized these items based on the recommendation of CDC and medical professionals. They were then delivered to the homes of senior citizens and those who have lingering illnesses, since they were more susceptible to being infected by this virus. That saved them a trip or two to the supermarket. And we also delivered care packages to the homes and places of work of frontliners in the community who are putting themselves at risk to serve our fellow men. That is for us to show to them how much we appreciate what they do for the community. At all times, we maintained social distance.
The Church of Christ is known for actively propagating and sharing their faith. The church also included in the goodie bags God's Message magazines, the official publication of the Church of Christ, which may serve as a very good source of hope, badly needed in these very difficult times. In Alexandria, Virginia, EJ Gonzalez, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Thank you so much, EJ, for that report. I'm just curious about, in that particular area, social distancing was mentioned several times. How strictly is that actually being observed?
Here in our area, in the Northern Virginia area, a lot of us are still participating in a stay-at-home order. I believe they extended it for another 2 weeks, but the last time we heard was also up until June 10. A lot of people aren't going back to work yet.
So that, I imagine that can be tough for the families in that area. How helpful were these items that were given out to them?
Well, I'm sure this is a very big help for those, especially in need. Even us, as we go to the grocery stores, there's lines that are so long, and they don't have the essential items such as sanitizing devices, applications, or even face masks. And a lot of people are being turned away even if they're not wearing the correct protective gear. So in order for them to stay home and to receive these items, I definitely believe that this is a great help for them.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, EJ, for your report on this kind gesture by the Church of Christ. Thanks for joining us tonight.
Thank you so much, Philip.
Now, as we turn our attention to Texas, which, if you've been tuning into our past reports, is one of those states that is beginning to reopen, the city of Corpus Christi is providing a list of fun social distancing activities to do around town. Let's head to Jane Kathleen Gregorio with the report.
Thanks, Philip. You know, here in the Lone Star State, the coastal bend is a popular tourist destination during the spring and summer months. So, in conjunction with Governor Greg Abbott's Phase 1 plans for gradually reopening Texas, the City of Corpus Christi tourism sector put together some ideas to help residents and visitors beat the boredom and de-stress while riding out the pandemic with minimal human contact. Number 1, going to the beach. Yes, the beaches are open. In fact, Corpus Christi has miles and miles of beaches to practice social distancing. The city has both a bayfront beach and a Gulf of Mexico beach to choose from, and both are perfect for swimming, jogging, surfing, or taking that nice sunrise or sunset walk. 6 feet social distancing is mandatory, with groups of no more than 10 allowed. Number 2, getting active. Now, it's time to trade in TV binge watching for an outdoor adventure along one of the many hike and bike trails in the city. Instead of getting more fast food to go, it's time to grab your bike or scooter or legs and just go. The city parks and hike trails are open, but officials recommend gatherings of 5 or less participants with 6 feet distancing or more between individuals. Number 3, now, fishing is one of the top things to do in Corpus Christi, and if you love fishing, you are practically a pro at social distancing. Number 4, hitting the water. It's time to cure your cabin fever with an exhilarating boating or kayaking experience. Number 5, take a stroll through history at Heritage Park, which is a collection of 12 historic homes built between 1851 and 1908, rich in architecture, history, and culture. Number 6, appreciating art from afar. Now, like many other cities, Corpus Christi has its own living canvas with many unique murals painted with South Texas culture that you can't find inside a gallery. And looking at the street murals, it makes a great backdrop for Insta-worthy selfies. Number 7, virtual tours. For example, here in Corpus Christi, we have the famous Whataburger baseball field, which is home of our team, Corpus Christi Hooks. And their website has an in-depth virtual tour of its stadium, which sits just under the Harbor Bridge landmark. Number 8, taking a scenic drive. One of the best kept secrets in Corpus Christi is Ocean Drive, which is 7 miles of bayfront views of stunning real estate, from historic mansions to modern condos and elegant palm trees. It's a great place to bike or jog while drinking in the blue horizon of Corpus Christi Bay. Number 9, supporting our local businesses. Many local eateries are open and eager to serve its customers. Order food for takeout or gift cards for future use, or order local wares from retailers online. And number 10, curate your own architectural and landmarks driving tour. Take a staycation with your immediate family and go for a tour of sites such as the Harbor Bridge, the famous Salina Memorial, the historical courthouse, the Ritz Theater, and much more. Get those cameras ready. More recreation activities, scheduled openings, and COVID-19 updates are available on the city's tourism website. Visit corpuschristitx.org. Meanwhile, stay safe and may you find some sunshine in the days ahead. In Corpus Christi, Texas, I'm Jane Kathleen Gregorio, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thank you so much, Kathleen. You mentioned a lot of things there. I'm just curious, what about museums? Are any of them open yet?
Well, that's a good question, Philip. In fact, the top 3 museums here in Corpus Christi, they are actually scheduled to open in a few weeks. The Art Museum of South Texas will be opening on June the 2nd. The Texas State Aquarium is opening May 18th. And perhaps the most famous museum here in Corpus is the USS Lexington, which will be opening on May 21st.
Excellent. That's great news. Now, you also mentioned a lot about the beach, which I know many people across the country, that the beach is where they like to go on vacation. Are masks required if you go to the beach there?
You know, Philip, according to the city's website, while masks are recommended at the beach, they're not required. And with regarding gatherings, the city officials they recommend avoiding extensive picnicking, partying for the next 2 weeks. So if you are inclined to go to the beach and have a picnic, take only your favorite friends or family members.
But they didn't give any parameters around that? What if I have 100 favorite friends?
Oh, well, they are limited to gatherings of 10 or less for the time being. So it would have to be your top 10 most favorite friends.
Excellent. Sounds like a MySpace from a few years ago. But before you go, I do want to ask you, of all the things that you mentioned there in the fun social distancing activities, have you done any of them? And if so, which one is your most favorite one to do so far?
Oh, yes, of course, I have done them. Although my favorite activity is swimming on the beach, I've limited myself just for now, only because of time constraints with work, to taking a nice walk. In fact, just walking along the bayfront during the evening when it's a lot cooler and feeling the breeze is just really nice, and just seeing all the other people, and their families walking as well. It seems like everybody is so eager to just get out. But of course, most people I've observed, they've been wearing masks, or they've been keeping their 6 feet distancing apart from individuals. So that's a good sign. That's a good thing.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much, Kathleen.
Thank you, Philip.
Enjoy your social distancing activities.
Thank you.
Now, when we come back, we'll have more COVID-19 updates from our Eagle News correspondents. We'll return shortly. Please stay with us. Hello, everyone, and welcome back. You are watching Eagle News. I am Philip Toledo in Atlanta. The governor of Pennsylvania has a message to those politicians defying the state law. Mila Cimbalin in Swarthmore has the story.
Thanks, Philip. Pennsylvania has now reached almost 4,000 deaths due to COVID-19 or coronavirus. Over this past weekend, several of the local leaders across Pennsylvania, especially those who remains in the red zone, have been in discussion with the Health Secretary of Pennsylvania, Dr. Levine, and the Governor Tom Wolf for their counties to move from red zone to yellow zone. Here's a recap of what this zone means. Red phase means stay-at-home order is still in place, which started in April 1st of this year. Large gatherings are strictly prohibited and restaurants are limited to carry out and delivery only. All non-life sustaining businesses are closed. Yellow, which means stay-at-home orders will be lifted, but we still need to follow federal or state health guidelines. A ban for gatherings of more than 25 people remains. Gyms, theaters, and other indoor recreational and entertainment venues will remain closed. And green, this phase will lift stay-at-home orders and business closures that will allow the economy to reopen strategically, keeping in mind the public health and safety. Last May, there were 24 counties that moved from red to yellow phase: Bradford, Cameron, Center, Clarion, Clearfield, Clinton, Crawford, Elk, Erie, Forest, Jefferson, Lawrence, Lycoming, McKean, Mercer, Montour, Northumberland, Potter, Snyder, Sullivan, Tioga, Union, Venango, and Warren counties. And this coming May 15, 13 more counties will move to yellow. Those counties include Allegheny, Armstrong, Bedford, Blair, Butler, Cambria, Fayette, Fulton, Greene, Indiana, Somerset, Washington, and Westmoreland. Those remains on the red zone will be extended until June 4th. That's why some politicians, especially those that are stuck in the red zone, were not happy about this decision, and some are planning to defy the orders. Here's a message from the governor for those politicians.
Into this coronavirus, they need to understand the consequences of their cowardly act. The funding we have put aside to help with fighting this crisis will go to the folks who are doing their part. And that includes our CARES Act funding, which will be used to support counties that are following the orders to prevent the spread and the medical communities who are treating patients. However, other discretionary funding won't go to counties that put us all at risk by operating illegally.
Some of the politicians are also urging business owners to open their businesses despite the lockdown orders. Here's the message from Tom Wolf to those who are planning to operate.
You business owners, these politicians put you at risk of losing your health department certificate. They put you business owners at risk of losing your liquor license. They put you business owners at risk of losing your certificate of occupancy. All of these depend upon your doing everything you can to keep your patrons safe. And by opening before the evidence suggests you should, you're taking undue risks with the safety of your customers.
Pennsylvania is clearly divided at this point, and I'm hoping that in the days to come, all these issues will ease up because this pandemic situation is already hard for all of us. And having divided leaders will truly add to the hard situation the people of Pennsylvania is experiencing at the moment. In Swarthmore, Pennsylvania, Mila Cimbalin, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thank you so much, Mila. You spoke about the divided nature of the community when it comes to this, and I think many of us across the U.S. and other parts of the world even are experiencing the same. What are the reactions of the people there in Pennsylvania to those who are defying the coronavirus orders?
Unfortunately, not all are happy, especially those small business owners in the red zone, even those in the yellow zone, because as long as a lockdown is in place, their means of livelihood is greatly affected. But the healthcare workers, especially the frontliners and those who were affected by this nasty virus, know how dangerous it is. So satisfied with the slow openings. But for some like myself, I don't know if it even matters what phase we are. We will probably continue to stay at home even if we're on the final phase, because I think the new normal now. I mean, whenever I go to the grocery and come back, I will sanitize everything that I bought, and I know I already have my gloves with me, but I'm still using hand sanitizer with it. So it's really heartening what's happening right now, but we have to be careful, really.
No, absolutely. Well, thank you so much. You enjoy the rest of your evening. We appreciate you joining us tonight.
Thank you. You too.
Now, in the state of New York, the governor there is directing hospitals to prioritize COVID-19 testing for children. Abigail Dumlau in Rochester reports.
Hi, Philip. Since yesterday, 20,000 people were tested for COVID-19, with 1,430 new people testing positive, bringing the total positive cases to 338,485, and there have been almost 22,000 deaths. Hospitals statewide have been directed to prioritize COVID-19 testing for children displaying symptoms similar to an atypical Kawasaki disease, a toxic shock-like syndrome. The state is currently investigating approximately 100 reported cases in New York, where children are experiencing these symptoms, possibly due to COVID-19. The illness has taken the lives of 3 young New Yorkers. New Yorkers should seek immediate care if a child has prolonged fever, difficulty feeding or drinking, severe abdominal pain, diarrhea or vomiting, change in skin color and trouble breathing, or breathing very quickly. Governor Cuomo mandated that all nursing home staff be tested for COVID-19 twice per week. Hospitals cannot discharge a patient to a nursing home unless that patient tests negative for COVID-19. And nursing home or adult care facility found to be in violation may have its operating certificate suspended or revoked, or may be subject to a penalty. Any personnel who refuse to be tested will be prohibited from working in the nursing home or adult care facility until testing is performed. Governor Cuomo announced a new contest asking New Yorkers to create a video on masks. It should be up to 30 seconds long. Explain why people should wear a mask in public and how to wear it properly. The deadline is this Friday, and the winning video will be used as a public service announcement. Interested New Yorkers can learn more at wearamask.ny.gov. In Rochester, New York, Abigail Dumlau, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Abigail. Now, on a lighter note, I heard that you had a fun history fact for us today. What is it?
Since we're all hoping for a vaccine for this epidemic, did you know that May 14, 1796, the first smallpox vaccination was administered? And the British physician Edward Jenner successfully inoculated an 8-year-old smallpox patient using material from a cowpox lesion. The word vaccine is derived from the Latin word for cow or vaca.
Well, thank you very much. I did not know that, and I'm sure many of our viewers at home didn't either, so we appreciate that fun and enlightening historical fact. Thank you so much for your report tonight, Abigail.
Thank you.
Now, we'll turn our attention to Los Angeles, where the Los Angeles County Museum of Art, or LACMA, opens its virtual doors through LACMA at Home. Marianne Borgia has the report.
Thank you, Philip. Recognized as the entertainment capital of the world, Los Angeles is known for providing its visitors and residents with a melting pot of music, movies, museums, and much more. With the Safer at Home order still in place for Los Angeles County, with some restrictions lifted last weekend for trails, golf courses, and curbside pickup for certain businesses, the closures of many non-essential businesses along with the entertainment life is far different from what many Angelenos are used to. In order to comply with the county and city's continued stay-at-home mandate, with the gradual reopening of the economy as outlined in the Roadmap to Recovery, museums are still temporarily closed in Los Angeles. In a positive effort to still keep the love for the arts alive and available to the public in the midst of this pandemic, Los Angeles County Museum of Art, or LACMA, has opened its virtual doors with LACMA at Home. This online virtual experience provides viewers with a free, inspiring, and enriching information where they can listen, watch, read, and learn about art and what LACMA has to offer from the comfort of their own homes. Some of the content that is available to the public are exhibition walkthroughs, documentaries, short films, online courses, teaching resources, curated audio soundtracks, live recordings, and artwork from LACMA's permanent collection. In Los Angeles County, the total number of confirmed cases is 33,180, with 1,613 deaths as announced today by the Los Angeles Public Health Department. Meanwhile, the state of California now has 69,382 confirmed COVID-19 cases and 2,847 deaths as recorded by the Johns Hopkins University and Medicine Coronavirus Resource Center. In North Hollywood, California, Marianne Borja, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Thank you, Marianne. Now, I think almost everyone tuning in today would agree that what museums like LACMA are doing is really important, especially when we're in the midst of this pandemic. But what's one of those things that a virtual visit just really can't replicate?
Well, we have to remember that unlike an online tour where the next big distraction is just a mouse click away, an in-person visit demonstrates an investment in time and effort. Chances are that when someone is finally standing in front of an exhibit after fighting traffic, waiting through crowds, etc., they're in no rush to leave, but instead will take the time to immerse themselves in the total museum experience.
Well, here's to hoping that everyone in LA will be able to get there in person sometime soon. Thank you so much, Marianne. Now, coming up, we're going to meet the hosts of EBC's newest online show, Vegas Variety. Make sure you stay with us. This is Eagle News. Welcome back. You are watching Eagle News. I'm Philip Toledo in Atlanta. Now, if you head to our website or our YouTube channel, which, by the way, make sure you click subscribe if you haven't yet already, you will notice that we've launched some new shows. One of those shows is Vegas Variety. And with us tonight is Anna Cui, Lani Valdecantos and Christine Mari, the hosts of Vegas Variety. Hello, ladies, and thank you for joining us.
Hi, Philip.
Hi. Hi, Philip.
Thanks for having us.
Those are very familiar faces. So I guess let's just jump right in. And I'm very, very curious, and I'm sure all of our viewers are as well. Why is it Vegas Variety? Are you telling me that there's more to Vegas than casinos and buffets?
Absolutely. You got to come out and check it out. But yes, there are so much more to Vegas than just the casinos. I don't gamble. None of the ladies here gamble, by the way, just to make that clear. But we're the event capital of the world. We have a lot of conventions. A lot of the big conventions are held here only in Las Vegas. We're very close to Grand Canyon. For those of you who like outdoors, there's a lot of hiking trails. What else, ladies? What else we have to offer?
Restaurants, what do you call it, buffets.
Right. And we have to remember that Las Vegas is not just the Strip. It actually consists of a whole thriving, vibrant community, you know, of so many families, business owners, you know, restaurants, spas. So there is so much to see and do here in Las Vegas, you know, and that there's so much that we can talk about, you know, from sports as well. It's turning into a lot of sports that's happening here.
Exactly.
So we're really excited, you know.
To come out and see well, I'm sure you've seen pictures of it, the new Allegiant Stadium that's waiting for the Raiders. It's amazing. It looks like something from Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Now, I want to latch on to something that Lani, I think it was you that was saying, you're talking about family. How long have each of you lived in the Las Vegas Valley?
Well, I personally moved here maybe about 6 years ago. So born and raised in California, for all of our Californians to our neighboring state. I lived in Philippines for a little bit, for almost a year. But I truly find Las Vegas as my home now. Because it's such a thriving community to be able to have a family, raise children, and just the people around. Nevadans are spectacular.
And I've been living here, like Lani, I was also born and raised in California, but the northern side of California. And I've been here for 8 years, and I wouldn't go back. I love it here. Slower paced life, less traffic.
Yes.
I've been here for 20 years now. I can't believe it. I had to think about it for a second. So, and I've seen so much changes, so many changes.
Now, absolutely. Now, living there so long, and you know, all of you have mentioned all of these things. What do you love most about living in Las Vegas? And if you moved away, what would you miss?
We have all kinds of food here, like everything you can think of. Korean, Japanese, Mediterranean, everything. The buffets. Not really. I hardly go to the buffets, but I do enjoy it. But the food, we have a variety of it.
And stores are open late.
Yeah. Not to mention, we are a 24-hour town. So one thing that we locals love is our steaks. I don't know if you guys are ever familiar with that, but it's actually midnight steak and eggs for a very valuable price.
But I think more than food, I think what I love about this area that I would miss if I went back is, like I mentioned, less traffic and just a slower paced life. I like that. I like that it's slower pace, yet there's a lot to do and it's exciting, and destinations are nearby, like the beach is about 4 hours away. The snow is only an hour away, and then we have all the shows that are here. So a lot to do.
If you want a glimpse of the world, you can go to the Strip and go to, Venice and Paris, New York. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Now you've mentioned a lot of things that you love, and Here at Eagle News, we're all about balanced reporting, so I have to ask you, what do you like least about Las Vegas? It's the tourists, right? No, I'm just kidding. But really, what are your least favorite things?
The heat.
Yes, I second that. The heat as well. I mean, currently we're not even hitting summer yet. It's only spring, but it's almost 100 degrees outside already. And that's in the evening hours.
106 the other day. Just a couple days ago. That was
106. That sounds like a radio station.
And that's not even the highest temp. Wait till, what is it, end of August? It's like 118, 117.
Fair enough. Well, let's talk about this show, Vegas Variety. What are your hopes for this show, and are they different for each of you?
Well, Vegas Variety, you know, who doesn't love Vegas, right? We talked a little bit about that. Anna mentioned about the conventions. We are the convention capital of the world, you know, so we have lots of conventions coming into town. So we can look forward to that, the ever popular CES, Consumer Electronics Show, upcoming electronics. There's NAB, SEMA. You know, there's so much to do here, all of our ever popular sports as well. But then, like I said, it's not just about the Strip. We have our, you know, vibrant communities surrounding Las Vegas. So we have business owners, restaurants, you know, reviews, things like that. Just a lot of, also, as well as like self-improvement tips.
Yep.
You know, because we definitely want to empower our viewers to live their best life, you know, and just, and as well as Vegas Variety. So you actually won't be seeing just the three of us, because our team consists of so much more, a whole team of different age ranges and backgrounds and different interests. So we'll actually have different hosts on the show as well.
Yeah.
So you guys can look forward to that.
Our overall goal is not to just entertain. I mean, if you come and watch the show, you see us, we like to, you know, just join us in the conversation, but at the same time, educate and provide some good information that you can use, whether we're talking about maybe, you know, some money tips or taking care of yourself, or maybe talk about a book, you know, that we like, that book review, movie review, anything like that we can share, and to inform our viewers.
And I think our biggest hope really is to be relatable and to just show a warmer side of Vegas, no pun intended, but a warmer side, a softer side, you know, like a human part of it, and give you a little glimpse into not just what Vegas is about, but also our opinions on it, and perhaps uplift you.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, I'm sure all of the viewers are like me. I'm excited to watch the show and to see all this, you know, variety in Vegas, if you will. So how often is this show going to air, and where can our viewers go to watch it?
It's supposed to air once a week. The exact date and time still has yet to be determined. We've had already 2 shows that's aired and posted, so make sure you check that out. And so right now it's going to be once a week on YouTube and also on Facebook.
Okay, excellent. Now, I do know one thing about the show, and that's that you end each episode with gifts. Gifts to your viewers. Now, I'm assuming it's not a car or a PlayStation or something like that, but what can
No, Philip, you don't get a car.
So if that's not it, what is it?
I think what we hoped for when we started that is that, like I said, we really want to be an uplifting show, a relaxed, enjoyable show. And then what better way to close off a show than to leave our viewers with something to kind of stick into their mind and to push them forward to have a better week. And that's why we called it our gift to you. So it's a little bit of inspiration, upliftment.
Yeah, something positive always, because we want to always end on a positive note. Something that our viewers can maybe try for themselves. And also we invite our viewers to always share comments with us too, share whatever, positive thing that they can share with everyone else.
Absolutely. Now you're kind of leading me in here as we're coming to the end of our news broadcast. We've had a lot of very serious reports, but like you mentioned, we always like to get that uplifting message. So for our viewers tonight, what gift would you three like to share?
Two buffet tickets when you come out here, Philip.
I'm on the way.
The Wicked Smooth. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm not kidding. If you come out, we'll treat you to a buffet. But for me, something relatable. I mean, we just watched a news segment, and some of it could be maybe causing some anxiety to some. So my gift would be take some time to distress. And one thing that I've tried recently is aromatherapy. I got a little diffuser and read up on it. The most popular oil to use to relieve anxiety is lavender. So I tried that, and it works. It's simple, with water, put some drops in there, and you just fill the air with lavender, and it is very soothing. So that's my gift to you tonight.
Well, thank you. What about the others?
All right. So my gift, yeah, that's always because there's three of us, so we're always kind of like, who's going to jump in and go first? All right. So, yes, we always try to end the show with a positive note. So my gift to all of our viewers, after, hearing and seeing our news conference, our news show, basically my gift to everyone would be to not live in fear. Please stay informed with everything that's going on. Take the precautions and pray. But, don't live in fear, because we know that this too shall pass. Mm-hmm. So just stay positive and count all of our blessings.
And then I'm going to piggyback on that. Be informed, which we have to be, which someone like me who's very anxious, it's hard for me. So that's why I really, really make it a big effort to focus inward. Think about your mental health, think about your heart, your feelings, think about your family. If you focus inward when it gets too much, then I think it really builds you up and makes you stronger to face all this craziness that's happening.
All right. Well, Anna, Lonnie, and Christine, thank you so much for joining us this evening. I know I and many others are looking forward to watching more episodes of Vegas Variety. You guys take care.
Thank you. Thank you, Philip. Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Philip. You take care.
Now, speaking of things to watch, the Eagle Broadcasting Corporation invites all of you to our 52nd anniversary event, Enjoy Music Beyond the Crisis. It is an online concert that's streamed the last 3 Sundays, and it will happen again on May 17th from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Philippine time. Now, this is an e-concert for a cause, streamed on all EBC social media channels to help our frontliners, healthcare workers, and communities affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, as always, we have a few good reminders for you before we end today. The first, wash your hands often with soap and water. Cover your mouth and nose if sneezing or coughing, and avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth when you're not. Avoid contact with sick people. And if you are sick, stay home and call your healthcare provider. Practice social distancing, so keep distance between yourself and avoid others or avoid large crowds. And finally, if possible, wear a protective face covering when out in public. We can never stop without thanking our frontline and essential workers with a round of applause. We appreciate you. Now that is today's EBC international coverage of the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you so much for joining us, and we hope that wherever you are, you feel safe, you're healthy, and you continue to join us on Eagle News. I am Philip Toledo. We live in interesting times.